I think, that might make me the main video. Lance Videos is in the kick or in the Rumble chat. Lance says, "Yo, chat, do you think Kai hates me now that I like Israel?" Lance, you became a propagandist for the Israeli government. You took a trip to Israel. Credit to you. You didn't kiss the Western Wall. But you are running cover. You take a trip to Israel, which you make appear innocuous, right? Like not at all of consequence of an issue. You're going to visit Christian holy sites. And what is like the product of that? Cam Higby goes live and starts, running defense for the war in Israel. And then Lance, you're producing content like debunking the USS Liberty incident, which is, pretty universally agreed upon to have been intentional. So that's, Lance, I think we might be switching up on you a little bit, Lance. Lance says, "Brother, I love America. It's not a propaganda trip. I'll tell you about it." Lance, it's not about it being a propaganda trip. It's about the fact that you, as a result of the trip, are now producing propaganda for the Israeli government, which is likely what they wanted you to do. What's your Rumble, Kai? It's Kai Clips. No spaces, no nothing. Let's just check this out. Let's check this out. We'll give him a fair shake. Here it is, fellas. This is his response to Ella Malding. A lot of old names here. Here's Lance Videos responding to Ella Malding. Hashtag Israel, hashtag Hamas, hashtag Palestine, hashtag Gaza, hashtag IDF, hashtag truth. Hashtag truth. Important hashtag there. Hashtag truth.
Soldiers committing a genocide as we speak.
If Israel was committing a genocide, why wouldn't they just turn off the water in Gaza? It would take literally a couple days just to kill them all, but that hasn't happened yet. I wonder why.
That's like a crazy, Lance, that's a crazy response. If Israel was just trying to kill all the Gazans, why wouldn't they just like drop a bunch of nukes on them? It's like, what? Lance, I'm sorry. Arguing that there are more efficient ways to systemically and systematically starve and what would you call it? Dehydrate? Starve, I suppose, is a word that you can use even for, you can starve people of water. Can you? That's an interesting English question. What would you call that? Withholding water from them. Just because there are more efficient ways to murder people is not sufficient evidence to argue that any kind of systemic or systematized starvation is not occurring. Just because there are ways to do it more lethally, more effectively, does not mean it is not occurring. Which, by the way, hey, Lance, you know what you sound like right now? You sound like a Holocaust denier. Why would the Nazis use gas chambers? Why would they go through the trouble of cremating everybody? Why would they do that? There were much more efficient ways of killing people. Why would they have them work? Why would they have them in work camps? Like, I hate to use the same paradigm when talking about this issue. But Lance, you understand that that's, to the argument, like the people who do, question the events, the historicity of the Holocaust, they use your same argumentation, which is ironic. I'll get you on in just a second. I do want to watch through this. I want to watch through this video, though. I won't be long, I promise. No, you can take all the time you want, but I'm going to watch through your video first. We'll let the chat decide.
The retirement of the same soldiers that torpedoed the USS Liberty in 1967 with the sole intention of killing everyone on that ship to get America to back another one of their wars.
If Israel wanted to destroy the USS Liberty and sink it down to the bottom of the ocean, that would have happened. Those jets were coming from Egypt.
Hold on.
That they've already been on a bombing raid. They need.
That is music from your video. What music is that? Is that the Doom soundtrack in the back of your video?
To go back and resupply their equipment. Why wouldn't Israel just send the planes from Israel unmarked to destroy the USS Liberty? Those planes were marked with the Star of David on them. They were obviously Israeli jets. If they really wanted to destroy them and blame it on another country, you think they would put an Egyptian flag on those airplanes? Whilst it was 100% Israel's fault in not identifying the ship, it was still an accident.
We are subsidizing.
That is not the historical consensus. The historical consensus and the perspective of the people who were involved, who survived the attack, is absolutely not that it was an accident. That is absolutely not the case.
The killing of 20,000 children dead in Gaza.
The IDF is not killing children.
This is honest, Lance. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I want to keep it a buck with you, bro. The optics on this video are crazy. The optics on this video are so crazy. It's like, it's like, Ella Malding is like, the IDF has killed 20,000 children, and then it cuts to you in an IDF shirt. The doom music starts playing, the boom, ba-da-da-doom. It's like the heavy metal rock music, and you're like, the IDF is not purposely killing. It's like,
when Israel drops these bombs, they first send pamphlets on the ground to warn the people in the area, get out of this area, it's going to be bombed. Then they send out text messages, ding, this area is about to get blown up.
Is that before or after the phone that those people are using blows
They
up?
drop a dummy bomb on that area, so there's no doubt in anyone's mind the bomb's going to be dropped. And then they send the real bomb. This is what happens in the meantime. Hamas turns the guns on the people, pushes them into this certain area, records them dying from the bomb that was sent by Israel. Whose fault really is it? Is it Hamas's fault that's aiming the guns and forcing the civilians into these areas? Or is it the IDF that we're...
This is like crazy propaganda work, dude. Where did you learn this stuff? Who told you this stuff? Who is informing you what Hamas does, pushing civilians into like a site that's going to be bombed? Also, if this were the case, it's pretty reasonable to, because I imagine, no, you know what? Oh, we're gonna finish watching the video. I'm gonna jot some notes. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna go off the dome. Yeah, the babies had it coming. That's true. The babies were gonna grow up to be terrorists. We're gonna watch your whole video. We'll give it a rundown. We'll give it a fair shake. I won't interrupt. And then we'll call.
trying to destroy Hamas.
12,000 of them under the age of 12. The IDF is killing one child every 45 minutes. 70,000 children are hospitalized for starvation. 4,000 amputees.
Hamas is literally seen on trucks stealing aid and then selling it to the Gazan people at a profit. That doesn't seem very good. The Israeli government has said this multiple times. They have two things that they want to do. They want to take Hamas out of power first and not starve the Gazan. And in order to do this, they have to make for sure that this aid does not go to the Hamas terrorists and goes to the right people. It's really, really hard to do that when you don't know what your enemy looks like. And the Hamas propaganda is literally telling its own citizens that going to get aid is a trap. It's not a trap. They're not trying to kill the civilians. They're trying to protect the aid from the terrorists that are trying to steal it and then sell it for a profit to its own people. Again, I've been to the Gaza envelope and I've been inside of an IDF base with these people. I was openly wearing my Christian cross. You guys act like they're Satan. They're not. They did not care at all. And I have an open Jerusalem cross tattooed on my arm. And they saw it. They want to end this war just as much as anybody else.
We instead...
All right. We're going to bring on Lance videos. We've seen the video. We've seen Lance's video. We are now going to talk to the boy. Live analysis, live debate. We are getting a debate. There he is. I can't hear you. Are you there?
You hear me now?
Yes, sir. Let me see. Let me check how you are on the stream sound. We want to make sure you're sounding good.
100%. Of course.
All right, chat. How's he doing?
What's
how's he
up,
sounding?
dude? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Little Nicky01, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Let me show the chat your beautiful face.
All right, go ahead, man. You know, I just got out of poker night. I played a little poker. It was pretty fun. But, you know.
Let's go. Got back from Israel and we're gambling.
Gabe got third place, though. Gabe got third place. It was promised to him 3,000 years ago, actually.
I love that, brother
that
Gabe.
placement was promised to him.
I love that, brother Gabe.
Gabe's an awesome guy. Yeah.
You know, if you see him, tell him I said hi. What does he think of your trip to Israel?
I mean, he's not really like upset or anything. Like I'm of course I'm still Christian. I support Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and you know everything about that, of course. And it actually affirmed my faith even more in Jesus Christ, out of anything I've ever done in my entire life, which really opened up everything. If you go there and you actually see the holy sites and you see where Jesus stood, like confirmed, it's like you can actually like visualize it in your head exactly how that happened. Like the apostles are here. I swam in the Sea of Galilee. where
Based.
Jesus Christ walked on water. Like
Based.
that, seeing that is actually insane. It's not a sea, actually. It's more like a lake. You can see across it. Like, it's like really, really tiny.
Yeah.
But you can see like how like the storm came over and Jesus Christ calmed the storm. Like you can see all that in your mind. It's like you can imagine that right there, which is just like it's beautiful to see. But
Very
like
real.
I'll tell you more about the trip and everything before we start talking. I don't want to get all the way into like the politics real quick, but I want to talk about Christianity for a second, if you'd
Okay,
like.
because I want to say
Um,
I have no qualms. I have
yeah,
no qualms with visiting
yeah,
the sites,
the
the
Holy
Christian sites.
Lands.
In fact, I may have the opportunity to do so sometime soon. But
You
I am
should. You should take it. You should take the opportunity. You don't
yeah.
have to listen to the people and what they say, but I came in. I came with this as a a guy who didn't really support Israel really at all. I didn't really want to send any aid whatsoever to Israel, and I came to the trip, and I visited every single holy site. It was amazing,
And now I want to
and
give them all my
I went.
money.
No, I don't want to give them more money. Yeah, come on, bro. So, like, we actually got into an active archaeological dig site. So this is where, the ancient Israelites used to walk towards the Ark of the
The
Covenant and the
black ones?
temple.
I'm sorry. I'll be more serious. I'll
No,
be more serious. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Keep
yeah,
going.
yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. So the ancient Israelites used to walk on this path, and I'm walking this path for the first time. It's not open to the public at all. We got special access. And we were walking on this. This is the first time ever. Jesus Christ confirmed walked on this to go to the Temple Mount and go to Jerusalem into the city. It's beautiful. You could rip up ash from the ground because it's active archaeological dig site.
Mm.
Rip up ash, and they go only biological matter can burn into ash like this. So what you're touching, after I already touched it, they go, what you're touching is wood and human remains, and I'm like, whoa. This is insane. Like, obviously, it's like 2,000, almost 2,000 years old. I think it happened in like 70 AD, so after Jesus Christ died, when they burnt down the city. And I'm touching this. I'm like, this is history in my hand right here. It's insane. And they're building it up to be more like a museum once it's open. Then we walk through the gutter all the way through this tiny little hole all the way through, all the way up into the Western Wall. We climbed up, we saw the Western Wall, and that's where I made the video that I'm like, it's a big, beautiful wall. There's no illegals here because it's a big wall. I made a joke, because obviously we don't like illegals. We don't like legal immigrants either, of course. But yeah, it popped up. I'm like, wow. And then we see a little hole in the wall, on the Western Wall, a little bit of hole. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, that's the hole where Muslims say that it's super funny. It's retarded, actually. Muslims say that Muhammad parked his flying donkey there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a great way. It's like 30 feet up. Yeah. Muhammad parked his flying donkey there. It's such bullshit.
Do you
But,
believe that? Do you believe that donkeys talk?
No? Probably not.
You
What?
gotta
What do you,
reread
what
the
are you trying
Bible,
is this
pal.
a trap?
You gotta
Is this a
reread the
trap
Bible.
question?
Yeah, it is. I got you.
What
No, Lance, where'd you go?
part of the Bible?
Oh, there we
Not
go. My bad.
not in the Mormon, stuff. Just, regular. The OG.
It's in the Old Testament. It's a let me find you. It's in the book of Numbers.
Yeah.
Let me find you the
Please
verses.
inform me. I would love to hear it.
I think the only reason I'm like doing that, it's not to run, a defense for
Yeah.
Islam or the Muslims, but it is to say that I
Yeah.
think a lot of the times when, and I say this obviously as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, somebody in the chat said top 3 weirdest beliefs of the Mormons. Well, it's actually something that's in the Old Testament. This is not from the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon doesn't have any talking
Look, I
donkeys.
believe you if you say it's from the Old Testament. I believe you, of course.
It is. It's
There's no flying donkeys. Okay.
I don't know about flying
Come
donkeys.
on.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know of any flying donkeys from the Bible.
Yeah.
But there
Yeah,
is
of
a
course.
case where Balaam's donkey. This is the one who talks. If I'm not mistaken, he hits it and it responds. The angel of the Lord as well, censures him. It says, and the angel of the Lord. This is Numbers chapter 22? Yeah, 22. Verse 32, it says, and the angel of the Lord said to him, why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I have come out to oppose you because your way is perverse before me. The donkey saw me and turned aside before me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, surely just now I would have killed you and let her live. And where's the part where the donkey talks? Hold on. It says, yeah, then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey. This is verse 28, a little earlier. It says, then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey and said to Balaam, what have I done to you that you have struck me these 3 times? So the donkey talks to his master Balaam. But anyway, that's just to say that I think as Christians we ought to be careful when we do these kind of like, look at how silly this other religion is. To be honest, it's like there's plenty of things that exist within our canon that are interesting.
If it spoke, if it spoke through, a divine power, yes, in the Christian, theology, of course. But like Muhammad flying to the moon on a flying donkey is ridiculous. I mean, I think everyone can believe that.
Just like that's just like Enoch City rational. Being lifted up and like translated to heaven.
I mean, but you gotta be real with Islam. Like most of that shit is just totally gay.
Hey,
so
hey, no S word.
Hey,
no S word.
Come on.
No S word. You're
most
right.
Of that crap is mostly gay.
There we go. That's better. That's better.
Look, let me continue with the trip, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty here in a second. I don't want to keep you for too long or anything.
You're not keeping me for too long at all. I started the stream recently, so I'm happy to have you for all the time I can get.
Of course. So we went through Jerusalem. We went to the palace where King David was, and it was confirmed there by in letters. Like they had a scroll, they had a stamp with wax. They had found those stamps. There were ancient stamps that had the name of David on them and all of the people that were around him. So it's confirmed that in this place that was the King of David's spot, which is just awesome. And you look across the way, there's a whole Palestinian city right there. So Palestinians in these areas can walk freely into Israel and out of Israel, which is completely opposite what I'm told online. These people can go in and out as they please. But the thing is, Israelis with Israeli passports cannot go into these Palestinian cities because they do not allow them, because they are judged and they have their own little small governments in these tiny little cities around the Jerusalem area and the West Bank and all this kind of stuff. We drove through these areas in a bulletproof bus, not for the sense of that they'll shoot us, more of the sense of that they'll throw big rocks at the buses because they don't like Israelis at all. So we're driving through these areas, and you look to our right. We're going to Shiloh, where Hannah had prayed for Samuel, if you know, right? Hannah had prayed for Samuel, and Samuel finally came, and she dedicated Samuel to a life of serving God. I think everyone that knows the Bible knows that story. And we went to Shiloh. We actually got to see that. But on the way, we saw a Palestinian town that was just literally it was like LA. Like these people had the most massive houses I've ever seen in my entire life. It was massive. And they were telling me the culture about the Palestinians in that area. And they're like, once they have a big mansion, and once the kids move out, they build big mansions for the kids around them. So it's multiple families with multiple houses in that same area. And you can see they have golden roofs. They have golden like little areas around their houses, real gold. You can see that it's shining. It's like, whoa. Like I could never afford that in my entire life. And the people in America say these people are under some sort of complete pressure by the Israeli government, and they're poor and they're living in disgusting like crap, my bad. And it's completely opposite of what I'm told.
What's the city called?
Whoa. I can't think of it, but if I could find it on a map, I will send it to you soon. I can ask exactly the route we went. But we did go to a Palestinian gas station. We went to all these different areas as well. We traveled through. We could see the valleys and vast places where David and Goliath had fought, which was just mind changing. Like you could imagine right here in this valley, that's where they fought. And the Philistines come from the word Palestine, so Palestine, it just changed over time. And I guess the Romans really named that way back then. Palestine after they destroyed the temple because they wanted to destroy the Jews, Judaism back then. So they burnt down the temple and all of Jerusalem so they could take out the Jewish religion back then. And they renamed Israel, or I guess Judea at the time, Palestine. And it was insane. Like just seeing all the history and everything. We can go through this valley, and it's called the Valley of Thieves. And we drove through here, and they said there were snipers here not too long ago that were shooting down cars and killing people. And you can see the ancient stones where people used to sit down and throw bows and arrows at people and hijack them. And we also went to the Golan Heights, where Saul, the apostle that turned into Paul, had walked from Damascus, right? The apostle, right? He had walked from Damascus, down to Israel. And then that's where he became blind, right? And he had to go to a certain house to become, he could see again. And you can imagine him walking through these areas.
Actually, no, it wasn't. It wasn't Peter that he found. It was Who was it?
It was somebody else. I don't think it was Peter. It
It
was
wasn't Peter.
I don't
They
think it was
met
an
later on.
apostle at all. I don't think
No,
it was an
it
apostle
was a
at all.
disciple.
Really?
Yeah, hold on. It wasn't like one of the 12 apostles. It was, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't an apostle.
Dude, why am I tweaking on this?
I'm tweaking on this as well, which is really, really weird because I was just told this a week ago. It's just blanking on me.
Somebody in
But
the
there's a
chat's
lot
gonna
of
say it
cool
before we
things.
pull it up.
Probably.
Yeah, who is he commanded to find? Acts 9. Let's go. He needs to find. Bruh. Sorry, this is like gonna bug me until I find this.
It would bug me too.
Bro, why is it like you would think with AI they'd make it a lot easier?
To find Bible verses,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
of course. It's insane. Try to look it up on Google.
Ananias. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Ananias.
exactly. So, and then I believe he rubbed like mud on his eyes, right, or some of
No.
the sort, right?
No.
What happened? What
He
happened?
had the laying on of hands. So Ananias, having the priesthood, laid his hands on Paul and restored his sight.
Saul, and then he became Paul.
Mhm.
So, yeah, which is really, really cool. You can imagine it. Like, I was closer to Damascus because I was at the Syrian border than I was to Tiberias, where I was.
Mhm.
And I also went to Magdala, where Jesus Christ was confirmed to preach at a synagogue. He went to the synagogue and he preached the word of God, obviously, of Jesus Christ to this certain synagogue. And you can see the exact spot where Jesus was. It's like, whoa.
Mhm.
That is like he was right here, and Mary of Magdala was right here as well, and you could see the whole town. It was a fishing town, so they would salt fish and they would clean them and they would sell them. It's like a snack spot. If you're traveling from Damascus down, you'd go through Magdala so you can get some fish so you can eat on the way. Like, it's a gas station or convenience store back then, like ancient, which is really, really crazy to see. We also went to the Church of Peter, where Jesus Christ had talked to Peter about, I believe it was, he said, "Do you love me?" And then Jesus Christ said in Hebrew.
You're talking about the
"I
the
love
Church of
you."
the Holy Sepulchre?
No. Church of the Holy Sepulchre is in Jerusalem. That's in Jerusalem.
Which one did you guys go to?
We went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Yes, we
Oh,
did.
okay.
But we also went to the Church of Peter. I believe it's called the Church of Peter. It might be a different translation, but it's on the Sea of Galilee. It's right there.
Oh, I think I know
and
the one you're talking. Is that the one where they have the
Yeah.
three fish? Where they have the fish mosaic, or not mosaic, but they have
Not the mosaic. It's a
It's-
church, and it's where Jesus Christ walked up the steps, and then he talked to Peter. He said, "Peter, do you love me?" And then Peter was like, "I love you as a brother." And then no, Jesus was like, "No, do you love me? Like, do you love me?" And Peter was like, "No, as a brother." And that went back and forth a couple times, translated from Hebrew into Greece and all these other kind of languages, but kind of like that's how it was in Hebrew. And it was really cool because, like, right there on the sea, that's exactly where it happened, where Jesus Christ said, "Guys, take the fishing nets and throw them on the other side." And then they caught all the fish. Remember that? And awesome story. I was right there. And then if you go up across, outside of the, Church of Peter, you walk out and you turn to your left, and that mountain is exactly where Jesus Christ turned those few fish into a couple thousand when he was preaching. Like, the Sermon on the Mount, like, that's pretty sick.
that is very
You
epic.
can see it. You can
I
see it
will. I
right
will
there.
say I don't know if my biblical memory is failing me. You're talking about the encounter that he has with Peter, like relative to what you were just talking about. It's the feed my sheep kind of
Yeah,
discussion.
I mean, I guess that there's a bunch of different translations and whatnot, but
I'm
yeah, it
unfamiliar
was
with the
right
one where it's
there.
like I love you as a friend. That might be
It's a Hebrew translation of it, so it's a little weird to
Okay.
describe, but yeah, it was right about there. And then you turn to the left, you see the Sermon on the Mount. It's like, wow, like Jesus Christ was right there feeding thousands of people out of a few fish.
Mhm.
Just crazy miracle. And then we went up, down to Jerusalem. We walked through the Shuk. We saw a bunch of Muslims, Jews, Christians. There's actually two Christian quarters: the Armenian Christian quarter, the Jewish quarter, and then there's the Muslim quarter. There's two Christian quarters and one Muslim quarter and one Jewish quarter in Jerusalem.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of gates. There's a lot of cool stuff. We went to the Jewish Quarter. I bought 5 rosaries right next to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I didn't know it was right next to the Church of Holy Sepulchre at the time. Next day, we went to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. We went to where Jesus Christ was reportedly died and buried, and it was awesome. You could see like graffiti from Crusaders on the walls of the church. I took a picture next to it, actually. Graffiti from Crusaders. It was amazing. So we went through all this historical biblical stuff. We saw all of this great Christian ancient history. We saw tells, which basically is ancient Jerusalem, Jerusalem again, Jerusalem again, Jerusalem again, conquered, conquered, destroyed, destroyed, conquered, conquered, destroyed. So like this is Jerusalem. This was the ground level at the time, and now the ground level's way up here. So we were underground a lot of the time. It was going in and out and twisty, whatever. Saw the craziest crap. Didn't kiss the Western Wall. Everyone says you got to kiss the Western Wall. Nobody kissed the Western Wall. Basically on my trip.
Did Emily Saves America kiss the Western Wall?
I don't know, because the Western Wall is actually separated from male and female. So there's a wall between the males and females. So I
if you had to place a
I don't
bet,
know.
if you had to bet, what would you put
she's
the
not
odds
really
at?
she's not really religious, so I would say probably not. I'm not sure.
If
She's
you had
not
to,
really that religious.
If you had to like place the odds.
Look,
Also, if somebody's not religious, why take a trip to Israel?
Someone's not religious, they're probably not going to kiss the Western Wall. I didn't even ask her. I have no clue.
Why would a non-religious person take a trip to
the
Israel?
whole thing is like, it's ancient history, man. It's like one of the most interesting places in the world, and one of my favorite places in the world now is Jerusalem. It's so cool. I walk up to a Muslim guy that's selling crap in the Muslim Quarter. I'm like, how much is this? He goes, 300 shekel. I'm like, it's too much shekel for me. He goes, okay, 250 shekel. I go 50 shekel. He goes, no. I go 55 shekel. He goes, nah, 120 shekel. I go 60 shekel or I'm gonna leave. And then I turn away, start to leave. He grabs me with the arm. He goes, 60 shekel, good. These people try to scam the shit out of you. You gotta talk to them, which is really, really funny.
That's how it is in most countries. That's how it is like in Germany when I have the Turkish people in Berlin trying to sell me like World War II memorabilia.
I mean, like I'm like literally like, I believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and you believe in a flying donkey. What are you doing, buddy? I'm gonna win every single time. So
were there any Jews selling Christian memorabilia?
Oh yeah, I mean, like literally all across the old city. There's Muslims that are selling Christian crosses and menorahs and like mezuzahs and everything.
That's
like Muslims are selling every. Oh, I know, it's so weird. Like I walk up to a Muslim. Oh, I'm a Palestinian Muslim, and they're selling a Christian cross and all this kind of stuff. They just want to make a living, and it's so crazy because like Candace Owens and these people. I mean, obviously I don't listen to Candace Owens for a lot of reasons. So it's really, really weird because it's not segregated like she says. I mean, you can walk through the Jewish Quarter and then all of a sudden you start seeing Arabic, you're in the Muslim Quarter. I mean, there's no like gates or anything that blocks you. You have to show your ID to get in or whatever. You can just walk right into the Muslim Quarter. We walked in the Muslim Quarter, we can see people, speaking Arabic. It's all backwards. Like, okay, all right, stop speaking terrorist to me, buddy. It's like, it's super dumb.
Well, it is like their country. It's not like
no. It's not the Arabs' country. I don't give a fuck about the Arabs. Okay, whatever. Arabs are. So we walked up to a bunch of Arab people, talking to them. Half of them liked America, half of them didn't. And there was this one guy me and Cam Higby talked to. And Cam actually recorded it. So it might be coming out soon. We're trying to figure out what to do with this damn video because it's so crazy. This guy, literally, Cam flipped up his phone because do not record me. Do not record me. And Cam was like, okay, records him anyways, like low key, because this guy's obviously like low IQ. He's probably like dumber than a dolphin or some shit. So he's like recording down here. And this guy goes, all 50 states in America. He looked at me dead in the eyes like this, like with all seriousness, right in the eyes. And he was like, all 50 states in America within 1 month will be destroyed and punished by Allah. Everyone dead. And I was like, are you serious? And then Cam goes, do you actually mean 1 month? He goes, are you serious? 1 month? Yes. 1 month? Yes. 100%. I go, what the hell? And then he walks off This guy was clearly either terrorist or terrorist adjacent. This guy was crazy.
He was probably a crazy person. I'll grant you that. Probably grant you that.
We had free time, by the way. This was during our free time. Me and Cam just walked around it, and we walked in any way. They said, get an Uber, go wherever the hell you want. Like, we don't care. So we were going around, walking around, just doing whatever we want, getting interviews with people in the Muslim Quarter. And this guy really, really made like a real impact. I'm like, wow, that's insane. That's an insane thing to say. Within 1 month, like that's very, very specific.
He was probably like an insane person. Like,
no. The people like so Jericho and Jericho and Bethlehem and in these other places. This is where they breed these terrorists in Israel, because they're not controlled by the Israeli government. Because as I said, there's Palestinian towns that keep the Israeli government out, and the Israeli government has no control over these cities. That's why it's hard. You cannot get into these cities really with an Israeli passport. You got to have an American passport. You got to prove that you're not Jewish, because they hate Jewish people and they do not want Israelis in. So you have to show a passport to get in these areas. We did not try to get in these areas. Next time I'm going to go, I'm probably going to really try to get in these areas because I really, really want to see them. I want to see Bethlehem and obviously Jericho because historical, all this other kind of stuff. But it's insane. Like, these people are bred and then they come to these areas and they tell people this. It was shocked. And then, we went to Tel Aviv. We had a great time. We went down to the Nova site where October 7th happened. Disgusting crap. There was 2 missiles that were, launched at Israel while we were there. Luckily, we're fine. Both were intercepted by the Iron Dome. I hope the Golden Dome is much better in America, because we need one. Obviously, if Israel gets one, we need one as well, because, fair is fair. We pay for all their shit. We went to an IDF base, and we couldn't record anything because a lot of stuff was classified. And we saw American equipment everywhere. We saw Humvees and all this other kind of stuff. And we talked with this Israeli soldier, IDF soldier, really, really cool guy. He was sitting there taking zins. He was chill. And he showed us like underneath, like where they train in Hamas, like functional tunnels and stuff to take out the terrorists. And it was hot as hell down there. And that's like 20 feet underground. And actual Hamas tunnels, they're about 250 feet underground, and they're like 10 times hotter. And that's where the hostages are, and that's where Hamas lives. And Hamas lives down there because they took over those tunnels that were made for the civilians to get under so they couldn't be bombed and killed. But they took those tunnels under so the terrorists could be safe instead of the people, which is, again, another horrible thing that the terrorists are doing to the Palestinian people that are in Gaza. Of course. Now, the thing is, these people, I saw videos of these people.
I'm going to give you just like a couple of minutes, by the way. And then I do want to ask some questions. I got to give you some pushback about several things.
Go ahead.
No, I want to give you some time to wrap up. What were you about to say?
I was just saying, we saw videos, legit videos. They're not faked or anything. You could see literal dead people, and it was just actually disgusting. I did CGI for years. I mean, there's no way this is CGI. Mm-hmm. It's just gross and disgusting. You could see necks that were turned around, bent back. There was broken arms, broken legs of just people that were younger than me and you, by the way, and they're 1-to-1 left.
Oh no!
Of America. So the Nova Festival was supposed to be and was right next to the Gaza border in the Gaza envelope, and they wanted to party with the Gazans at one point. That's why they made the festival. I want to party with you guys. I want to make peace. And what the Gazans do? They come in, they mass rape and murder them, and in the most disgusting ways you could possibly think of, ripping out their hearts and eating them, and killing children and destroying these people. I've seen all the videos. I've seen charred people in cars. I've seen people get. I saw this is the worst. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen. This girl that was probably 22, 21, sitting down, begging for her life. Please spare me, on her knees. And this Hamas guy, casually reloading his gun. She's begging. He doesn't say a word. Begging. Please spare my life. Boom. With no remorse. Walks away. Mm-hmm. And then he goes into a fridge. He opens up the fridge, grabs a Coca-Cola, drinks the Coca-Cola. No remorse in his fucking face. Mm. And you see these people call their mothers. It's on video as well. You can see these people calling mothers. It's all in Arabic. It's all translated to English as well. These people are like, Mom, I just killed 10 Israelis. What do you think? And their moms start crying. Tears of joy. that their kids have just committed
Wait,
mass
where
murder.
are these videos being taken? I don't know if I
So
missed that
you got
context.
it. So most of these videos are actually taken by Hamas. So Hamas had used GoPros
Hmm.
on their heads and on their chests to record this to brag
Hmm.
for the first few days.
Hmm.
And then after the first few days, they copyright striked all the videos. So you can't see the videos anymore. You have to have special access to grab these videos and actually look really, really hard online. But we got special access to see these videos. And the reason why the Israeli government won't release these videos is because there's a lot of people in Israel that have friends and family and like their mothers and children that were murdered and raped and disgustingly destroyed in these attacks. Like imagine your mother got killed. Would you really, really want her face out there just getting completely violated for everyone to see?
I mean,
I don't think you
what
would.
wasn't it the case though that Israel like was publishing like what ended up not being the case, like beheaded babies or babies like in ovens? Like, wasn't that being published, and wasn't
I
that an
don't.
attempt to
I
drum
never.
up
I never
support?
saw. I never saw a baby in an oven. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not going to say no, but I
By
did
my
see.
understanding, that ended up not
I
being
did
true,
see.
but it was
No,
a
no,
claim
no.
that was being made.
I said I don't know if that's not true or no, but I did see burnt alive babies with their parents with them
Okay,
in cars.
so let's say
So
so you saw that because there was a special privilege that Israel had, like they had special access. They showed you guys
there's a lot
this.
of things that they can show you and a lot of things they can't show you.
So
So
who did they show these videos to?
you literally have to go to Israel to see them.
Okay, so if you go to
And the only
Israel,
reason why they don't show them,
it's because it
you
would
have
be
to get
sensitive. It
special
would be
access to
bad for the
them.
families. It's like very
I
private.
mean, like I would like if my mom got raped, murdered, and her body violated
Yep.
in multiple disgusting ways, do you think that I would want everyone to see that?
Hmm.
No, probably not. I
No,
would
probably
say
not.
no. I don't want people to see my mom be like that.
So
So I mean,
why do they show it then to like influencers?
they don't show it to everyone. It's very, very specialized.
Well, who did they show
So
it to?
they show it to a very, very few amount of people.
But like who?
So basically, I don't know who all they've showed it to. Like, I'm not an expert.
But they
on this.
so they showed it to you.
They showed it to a lot of us. Yes, they did. And,
Like
it's,
and
if
the,
you actually
a lot
see
of a lot of
videos
us
and
were like
everything,
the influencer
but, like,
group.
yeah. So
Okay. And
so the thing is with these videos and everything like that, they were all basically open when October 7th happened because Hamas had posted them all over the internet. So a lot of people have already seen a lot of these videos, and a lot of pro-Palestine people say they're not real, but they are real and they're disgusting.
okay.
And it does not mean
what do
to
you
say
think,
that you
Lance?
should be killing children.
What do you think, Lance,
in
about
Gaza.
like what is because I understand maybe there's dubious documentation because of like some privacy issues.
Yeah.
What about like the thousands of children that have been documented to have died on the Palestinian side?
Again, like I've been saying this, the entire goal of the Israeli government and the IDF is to basically destroy Hamas first and then make for sure Gazans have food.
By killing like babies?
And the reason why is because there's about 20-ish hostages. The IDF knows exactly where they are, okay? But they cannot go into those places because if they try to, boom, right? They're going to be killed. So it's a very, very sensitive situation, and a lot of people don't understand. It's not like just send SEAL C6, set them in right now. They have hostages. They're going to be killed immediately as soon as you walk up. So they have to kill the people on the surface first, and then they
Like
have to
the
go
babies?
and people, no.
Oh,
the
dude,
people as in terrorists, and you know what I mean. Don't be
It ke-
dishonest, okay?
no, hold on,
know
hold on.
terrorists,
Sorry.
okay?
It
So,
keeps lagging.
again,
It
like-
keeps lagging out a
yeah,
little bit. It keeps lagging out a little bit.
Okay, okay.
But no, Lance, like I understand what you're saying, but there are thousands of children who are documented to have died on the Palestinian side in the West Bank. Do you
Of
have the
course.
same amount of moral outrage about that as you do the ones you're
in
describing?
the West Bank, thousands in the West Bank. Thousands. You know what the West Bank is?
Well, not just the West Bank, like over the course of the conflict since
Okay.
October 7th.
Wait. The West Bank is not in the conflict. The West Bank is not in the war right now.
You don't think the destruction
what
has
do you-
occurred?
no, what-
Okay, all right.
No, wait.
I'll make it more general.
Retract.
Okay.
No. Let me go back.
Yep.
You just said the West Bank. Where's the West Bank? Don't even look it up right now. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. I want to see this. I want to see this.
Do you want me to point to a
Bank?
map?
Geography-wise, where's the West Bank?
Like on the
Is
western.
it near Tel Aviv? Is it near Golan
Lance,
Heights? Is it
Lance,
near Jerusalem, or
this
is it near
is
Gaza?
Lance.
Where is it?
This is a
No,
really weird.
You just said
You're
thousands of
interrupting me.
babies
You're
in the West
interrupting me.
Bank.
You're interrupting
I
me.
want to
You're
hear you. I
interrupting
want to hear
me.
you. I want to hear you.
Hold on. I rephrase because that's probably not the most accurate thing. Over the course of the conflict
it's
in
not at
regions
all.
affected,
It's not at all.
thousands of children have died because of the Israeli government. And your shift has been, well, can you tell me where the West Bank is? Dude, you're displaying more moral outrage over where I can place the West Bank on a map. Than actually the thousands of people that have been recorded to have been killed by the Israeli government, Lance.
Listen. There's no moral outrage. Where's the West Bank?
What do you want me to show you?
The West
on a
Bank
map?
is not in Gaza. It's not even near Gaza. It's actually right next to Jerusalem, and there's no war in Jerusalem. There's no war in the West Bank, and there's not thousands of babies dying.
Which is why, Lance, 2 minutes ago, I remade my claim because it was inaccurate.
Okay, to what? Okay, good.
I just told you that. Now, can you respond to my question?
Okay.
Do you have the
Yes,
same
so-
amount of moral outrage about the thousands of Palestinian children who have died over the course of the conflict since October 7th?
Yeah, it's horrible that Hamas is literally forcing these kids to die.
Dude,
They're
that's crazy.
Terrorists.
That's crazy.
So you believe that the IDF is purposely killing these people?
No, I think that the Israeli government really does not care what kind of casualties this conflict is incurring. And proof of that, by the way, is the fact that they refused to respond in a prompt manner when the October 7th attacks were occurring. What's the justification for that, Lance? Why did the Israeli government under Netanyahu refuse to deploy troops for hours knowing that this attack was occurring? Why does one of the most technologically and militarily advanced countries in the world hold off on responding to a terror attack that they know is killing innocent Israeli civilians? Why do they do that?
First of all, the attack happened on Shabbat, so that was on Saturday. Saturday morning, this happened, okay, on October 7th. Shabbat, like 90% of the entire country does not use their phones in Shabbat. Nobody uses their damn phones. So nobody's on their phones or anything. Only a certain select amount of people have their phones available. And it's really, really hard to get available with a lot of the IDF people at one certain time. So what happened was there was not like a line of people like we have at the border, a line of a lot of people just sitting there waiting to, like attack. There was not like IDF people everywhere because nobody was expecting this attack. Bibi Netanyahu, which I don't like very much.
Lance.
Listen.
What you're saying is not true. There is no plausible deniability that the Israeli government has to allow for this attack to happen when the people who perpetrated it are far less technologically advanced, have even actively been spied on by the Israeli government. Are you telling me that Israel's greatest enemy in the world, the one that poses the most existential threat to the Israeli existence or the existence of an Israeli state, are you telling me they were oblivious to the fact that the Palestinian Hamas troops were literally carrying out exercises for weeks practicing for this attack? Do you think they were oblivious to all of that? And are you telling me that same society was just like they weren't on their phones? Is that the argument?
Egypt literally had told them, yes, it's true. Egypt had told them this attack was going to happen. But the thing is, they were using pamphlets and notes to plan this attack. It was really, really hard to tell exactly when it was going to happen. But they were training troops. They were getting ready. But they were not ready for that specific day. Okay?
How? Why were they not ready?
It was an IDF response problem. It was not an intelligence problem. They had come down. So they
shifted the goalpost. You shifted the goalpost.
There is no goalpost that is being shifted.
Absolutely.
There's nothing.
Absolutely, because you have now admitted that it was not a problem of intelligence. They knew that the attack was being prepared.
I literally specifically told you it was a response problem, and then now I'm saying it's also
what was the issue in the response? What was the issue in the response?
The issue was in response is because it was Shabbat, and they had to get everyone ready and going. So literally, right after that happened,
how long do you think it would take?
There was about 20,000 troops that were ordered down immediately to the Gaza envelope. You know how many showed up?
How many?
About 30,000. They ordered 30,000 people showed up because they went in their cars, they came down with their own guns, and they were ready to fight. And they ended up taking out Hamas and pushing them back. About 4 or 5 hours.
So you're
you know how
simultaneously
long
telling
it
me.
takes in
You're
high
simultaneously
traffic to
telling
get
me.
down from one end
Hold
to the
on,
country
hold
to
on,
the
hold
other?
on, hold on, hold on. You're simultaneously telling me that the response was
I told
this.
you it was an
Hold on.
IDF response.
Let me hold on.
Error.
You're simultaneously
I already
telling
said
me
this.
that there was this amazing, majestic response of 30,000 individuals when only 20,000 were asked for, but simultaneously, it was also a failure in a response by the IDF to an attack that there was U.S. intelligence predicting that this was going to occur. The entire border, I mean, dude, you are
Egyptian
talking,
intelligence, but
you're
yeah.
already talking Egyptian, U.S., like the Israeli government knew that this attack was going to be happen, which you yourself have conceded to. You've shifted that goalpost.
Yes,
You've admitted
but they
that
didn't
the
know
Israeli
when.
government. Okay,
They didn't know when.
dude, are you serious right now? Do you not think that one of like this is a conflict that has been brewing, that has been at different states of
You
heat
cut out.
level?
I can't hear you now. Go back like 3 seconds. I couldn't hear you for like 3 seconds.
Okay. You agree that this is a conflict that has been brewing for quite some time. Prior to the October 7th attack, there are terrorist attacks, there are smaller attacks. Hamas has always posed an issue for Israel consistently prior to the October 7th attacks. Israel is one of the most technologically advanced countries, and the border, especially in these conflict zones, is one of the most highly reported on and one of the most, I suppose, spectated places in the world, certainly by the Israeli government. You add to that the fact that the Egyptian government is able to give information, including the U.S. government, gives information to Israel that this attack is likely, and you're just telling me that this incredibly advanced country got caught with their pants down by a bunch of terrorists with hang gliders?
So let me explain exactly what happened.
Please do.
This is what happened. These people were told this attack is going to happen, and that's what Egypt got. And Egypt had told Israel, hey, this attack's going to happen. But the terrorists in Hamas did not know exactly what was going to happen either. So this is what happened. They wrote a lot of notes on the day of the attack. They had messengers go all across the entire area of Gaza and hand out the notes at the same time early in the morning. So there's no way of Israel knowing exactly when it's going to happen when the people that were going to attack didn't know it was going to happen until right then. So they released all the notes because they're technologically advanced, but they can't hack a note on paper. And then
but they can watch the border and produce a response that takes a little less than 5 hours.
Of course. And of course, that was an IDF problem. And I admit that. It was a problem by the IDF. They should have been more prepared for that. But they did not know they were going to be using paper and pen.
Okay,
and
you're telling me that paper and pen is the reason that there was a 5-hour delay in the response by the Israeli government that caused thousands of casualties.
Do you realize that? So, for the most part, 3 months before the war, 3 months before October 7th, Bibi was loosening restrictions on Gazans for entering through Israel to work in Israel, and the people that went to these towns to work within Gaza had worked in the towns on the Gaza envelope. And they recorded, the areas and where to go and where to kill people. And then they came back and then reported back to the terrorists with pen and paper. And they had memorized the places because they had worked there. And then when Hamas wanted to attack, they sent out those notes, which you cannot hack notes. And then they attacked. Israel had no clue when it was going to happen, but they knew it was going to happen, and they only got a short notice. So once it happened, IDF was not prepared, which I agree, they should have been prepared. It was not prepared, but it happened anyways. Because those people, the Hamas was prepared to trick them. And oh my gosh, they're most technologically advanced spies in the entire world. Yes, they are. Of course they are. Everyone
but they
knows
got fooled by pen and paper. But they were literally warned several days in advance. They were warned several days in advance. This is, by the way, this is not.
Are you saying that the Jewish people just wanted their people to die, 1,500 of them?
I think Bibi Netanyahu absolutely saw it as an opportunity to remain in power. I think he absolutely sees it. And the October 7th attacks, like the thousands of casualties on the Israeli side, he absolutely is using that as a justification for the thousands and tens of thousands of deaths on the Palestinian side. I think he absolutely withheld a response because it would give him further justification for perpetuating the war. Absolutely. And I think, hold on. And I think that is way, way more likely than just this idea that you're describing, that one of the greatest, most technologically advanced militaries in the world, which was able to come up with 30,000 soldiers when only 20,000 were asked for, somehow got fooled by pen and paper despite having US and Egyptian intelligence given to them days prior. We're not talking about like the Hamas like selecting a day in 10 years. We're not talking about a random selection of numbers that decided when the attack was going to occur. The trainings were literally seen. There's video of the preparations for this attack in the weeks and months prior to it, and days prior to the attack there was information given to the Israeli government, and you're telling me it was Shabbat and their phones were off. That's ridiculous, dude. That is way less likely.
I already told you it was way more than that, but then now you're ignoring that.
No, you didn't. You said that you said that pen and paper fooled them.
Yes.
You said that it was Shabbat, so many of their phones were off, and that it was just an IDF error. One of the most sophisticated militaries with the most technologically advanced and one of the most spectated borders and conflict regions in the world was somehow stunned by pen and paper. That's what you're telling me. And you're telling me that that is a more likely reality than Benjamin Netanyahu, who finds himself in a political hot seat trying to justify perpetuating a war and his own occupation of the government. That's what you're saying
to me, that Israel just they wanted their people to die.
I'm not saying that, but I think they absolutely knew that it was going to give them. Hold on. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between wanting your people to die and being able to use a good tragedy for your political goals. And people do that all the time.
So do you know how the Israeli government works?
I mean, I just kind of described it, right? At least one facet of it.
So what is their legislation called?
Are you serious, Lance?
What is their legislation branch called?
Lance, I understand that you did your whole Quizlet when you went to Israel and you were given your talking points and you were told.
What is it called? What is it called?
I don't know.
What is it called?
I don't know, Lance.
Okay, it's called the Knesset. It's called the Knesset.
Fantastic. Can you tell me why the Knesset? Can you tell me why the Knesset was stunned by pens and paper? Can you tell me why the Knesset? Because that's such a relevant detail. Can you tell me what the Knesset had to do with the pens and paper stunning a government?
Branches, multiple parties in the Knesset.
Okay.
And the biggest party right now is Bibi's Knesset. Okay. The party, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Bibi has a majority control. The people don't vote for Bibi. They vote for their Knesset member, and their Knesset member votes for Bibi.
Oh,
okay. So he was not at risk of leaving the government immediately. He might have had a lot of support and a lot of bad people hating him. You know, I mean, I don't know, Gordon. I'm not a fan. You know, a lot of leftists hate Bibi. A lot of right people hate Bibi. I'm not the biggest fan of Bibi. But the thing is, he could have done more. Yes, of course he could have done a lot more. But the thing is, October 7th happened, and it was not 100% was not Israel's 100 to kill their own people with terrorists. That's a ridiculous statement. You know,
I don't think that's ridiculous at all.
Especially in Israel, are all about literally surviving and love. And for you to say,
hold on,
oh my gosh, these people wanted their people to die.
What do you think about 9/11? Do you think that the United States has had any kind of intel that could have tipped them off about the 9/11 terror attacks?
I don't know.
I don't think you're being honest. I don't think you're being honest. I think you've talked about this before. I think you've talked about this before. You've talked about this before, Lance. Why is it so classified now? I think you and I both know. I think you and I both know that the United States actually had some pretty credible information about some potential risks. And I think that governments, the U.S. government, the Israeli government, plenty of governments have tolerated risks, have even in some cases allowed for attacks to occur, or in certain cases stalled their response in order to provide a larger justification for their response. For example, you know, an invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan, that would have never been justifiable had a major terror attack not been committed on U.S. soil. For example, the 70,000 or so casualties that have happened since October 7th, I think, since October 7th in Palestine and in territories affected by the Israel-Palestine war, I think that is unjustifiable unless there's a significant amount of Israeli casualties. And I think that that's something that the government, whether or not it's Netanyahu, I don't really know. I don't know about the way that their government is set up. But I think that, you know, we can analyze at a political level the way that governments tend to act, no matter who runs them. And we're being very naive if we both are saying that governments won't do that. I think they absolutely will. I think our government has done it, and I think Israel probably did it.
Let me ask you this real quick. Let me get to my point after I ask this question. After you answer this question, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want you to
If it's
think,
and if it's
"Oh
more
my God,
if it's more Israeli government trivia,
no,
I
no,
can
no,
stop
no,
you
no,
right
no.
here. You know, I didn't go to Israel and I
Not
didn't get my
America.
fact
It's not
sheet given to
America.
me, so I may not know.
About America. It's about America.
Okay.
Do you believe that in Hiroshima was justified? Do you think that was justified?
I have to look more into the way it was weighed. I don't think so, though. Like, I think the bombing of a huge civilian population, like, I don't think that was justified. And I think
I think it was 100% justified.
You think it was?
It was 100% just. Yeah, of course.
And
100% justified.
and
because
look,
they did the numbers. They did the numbers. If they would have invaded Imperial Japan back in the day, there would have been a lot more Americans casualties going in to try to take over and destroy the government than to like bomb them and say like, get the fuck, we bombed them once. A lot of people died. The Japanese still, we are not going to surrender because that's their culture. We're not going to surrender. And then we said, you know what? We're going to bomb you again. You want to surrender? We do not want to surrender. We bombed them again, and then they surrendered because they realized that we have the power of literally the sun in the palm of our hands. If you know Spider-Man. But so we did this to prove a point, and also I don't agree with killing a lot of civilians. Of course not. But that was justified to save American lives. Okay.
Do you think then?
American
let me
lives.
ask you.
That is
let me
our
ask
country.
You. Let me ask you.
So when they go into Gaza,
let me ask you.
So listen. Before we do this, you know what we did before we dropped those bombs?
What we let them know. We gave them a warning.
We dropped pamphlets over the city. Get the fuck out of the city. Get out of the city. Get out of the city. In Japanese as well, not in English because we're not dumb. Get out of the city. Get out of the city. So we got as many people out of the city as possible. We just wanted to level the city to show our power. Some people stayed. They died. That's on them. I know it's on them. We gave them a couple days notice, by the way. So they had time to get out. And then we bombed them. And we gave them a couple times then, and then we bombed the next city, right? So that's what we did. And that's exactly what Israel's doing as well. So America did that in World War II, and really no one gives us flack except for some dummy leftists that don't believe in the freaking death penalty or whatever.
I don't believe in the death penalty.
Now Israel's doing the same thing. I believe in
the
death penalty, of course. If you're a rapist, murderer, and you've killed 30 people, and you're completely far gone and so crazy that you can't even be taught anything, you know what? Go. So basically, the Israeli government flies everything, and as I told you earlier, they're trying to save as many people as possible, but Hamas is pointing the guns on the people enforcing these areas and killing them, and that's why there's so many children and women deaths. And the thing is, so if I were to order, for example, Kai, I would never do this to you because you're my brother, I love you, in Jesus Christ, okay? As if I were to order like a hitman on you, okay, and the government ended up finding out, they're like, oh my gosh, Lance ordered a hit on Kai, it's horrible. They would charge me for murder, okay, and the hitman as well, okay? So they would charge me for murder. These people are pointing the guns on the people, their own people, and forcing them into these areas that they know that this bomb's going to drop. And then they blow them up and kill them. And then they record this as propaganda to show you there's civilians dying and it's all the IDF's fault. It had nothing to do with us, Hamas. Oh, no, we're innocent people. The Palestinian people are innocent. Of course there's innocent people in Palestine.
Lance,
these people are getting forced into these poles.
Lance.
What?
Do you not believe that it is possible that the Israeli government is using some videos that were similarly procured as a means of encouraging you and other influencers to support their cause in a war? Like this idea of looking at dead civilians.
That Hamas is doing the same thing as well?
Sure. I think both sides are doing it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
But the only difference is that, there's like a 1 to 10
difference about October
7th in the amount of casualties.
Well, of course, because Hamas is pointing the guns on these people. Of course there is. I mean, literally, of course, they're literally pointing the AKs. If you're pointing an AK at you,
women and children are not pointing AKs, Lance.
No, they're not. I'm talking about Hamas. Hamas is pointing AKs at the women and children to go into these areas that are confirmed to be bombed.
No,
and then when they get bombed,
I would love to see a substantiation of that didn't come during an influencer trip to Israel. I would love to see a substantiation.
Oh my gosh!
No, seriously,
dude. You think they're not pushing propaganda on you?
Hold on.
You see the
I didn't say that, Lance. I didn't say there's
What are you
not
talking
propaganda
about?
being pushed to me.
Hamas-
What I'm telling
Hamas
you,
is killing these
Lance,
people.
what I'm telling you, Lance, is that I haven't taken a trip to Palestine and I haven't taken a trip to Israel either. What I'm telling you is that I was not privy to private information that the Israeli government can't show to everybody because it's like really graphic in nature and that it would be offensive to the people whose families have been affected. But they were willing to show it to a bunch of influencers who, despite not kissing the Western Wall, they did know were going to go on TikTok Live and debate people about how Israel ought to be defending itself, and whatever number of casualties are occurring in Palestine are totally justified by the fact that there's like, I don't know.
Do you think Israel should be defending themselves? Do you think that?
Yeah, but I don't think that defense, steps up to 70,000, casualties of women and children. I don't think that thousands of children that are being died are justifiable.
Who's killing these women and children, though? I just told you who's killing these women and children.
What you told me is probably what you heard on the influencer trip, and it's something that I have yet to see established or supported by any legitimate source.
These people are terrorists, and they want to kill you.
Okay,
and they
Lance,
want to kill Israelis.
Let's get back to your prior hypothetical. I like your hypothetical of the nuclear bomb, right? And admittedly, something is very different. Admittedly, something is very no. It's my turn. It's my turn to give you. It's my turn to give you a hypothetical.
Would you not want to destroy them?
It's my turn to give you. Well, let's build off of that hypothetical actually, because it's important to get to the point of what is possible, what is justifiable for you. If Israel is at the point of being overrun, are you in favor of Israel using nuclear weapons to defend itself?
They don't need to.
Are you in favor? But hold on. That's not how a hypothetical works.
They've got this under control right now.
Would you be in favor of it if this were the case? It's logistically possible. Like it follows logically. Nothing I'm saying is impossible to assume in a hypothetical. If it was the case, would you be in favor of Israel defending itself with nuclear weapons, possibly ending millions of Arab and Palestinian lives, and Israeli lives for that matter?
I mean, that's a pretty good question, actually.
It is actually.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, let me pose you this question.
Can you answer first?
If the Muslims and Palestinians gained the arsenal of Israel, what do you think they would do with it?
If the Muslims and Palestinians gained it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They gained all the nuclear and power of Israel, and they gained it. What do you think? What's the first thing you think they would do with it?
They would probably take up a pretty similar position. They would probably take advantage of having nuclear bombs, and they
terror all over the entire world.
No, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that they would recklessly.
Okay. So
I don't think they would recklessly commit terrorist attacks. No.
They ran into these houses and in these people's places and these people's homes that were just peaceful people, and they ripped open their hearts and they ate their hearts and they killed and destroyed people.
Dude,
what do you think they would do?
That is total. Lance, that is total atrocity propaganda.
Are you paid? Are you paid by Qatar?
I'm not.
Are you paid by Qatar?
Hey,
you paid by Muslims? Muslim Brotherhood?
Lance, how about this? How about this? What's the
guys always say we're
Qatari
paid by
influence? What's the
Israel. I'm not
Qatari
paid by
influence in the
Israel.
United States, Lance? Why don't you tell me that? What's Qatari influence in the United States?
The Muslim Brotherhood pays for American colleges to promote anti-Israel sentiment.
Hey, Lance. Where? Okay, yeah, no, I'm actually familiar with this, Lance. Hey, where are those American colleges, Lance? Are they in America?
What do you think?
They're not. They're actually not. You look like an idiot.
Where are they?
They're satellite campuses that are in Qatar, you idiot.
Oh, no, that's bullshit. They're
okay, look it up. Look it up.
As well.
Look it up.
They're definitely in America as well.
Okay, look it up.
I'll look it up. Let me see.
Look up which colleges. Look up which colleges are being funded by Qatar. Look it up. And then look up, tell me where they are. Tell me where those campuses are.
Waiting for stuff to load.
Hold on, I'm going to read some super chats real quick while you look that up.
Okay.
Yo, thank you very much, Nefitz Blue, for the super chat. It says, Free Palestine. Thank you very much. Campo, thank you. He says, let's go, Kai. Thank you, Campo, as well. He says, goat. Thank you guys so much for the super chats over there on Rumble. Thank you very much, all you guys in the Kick chat. Freaking love you. Somebody, Chief subscribed earlier. Thank you so much for that, Chief. We appreciate you big time, man. We appreciate you big time. Chief, thank you for sending those sources in the chat. Yeah, Leather Apron Club clutched up big time. Leather Apron Club clutched up big time there. Chief, yes, please. Please hop on this call.
Also assesses the impact these developments have had on Canadian universities with particular focus on McGill University, Concordia University in Toronto, the University of Toronto, and York University.
None of those
First
are in
of all.
America, actually. You've
Yes,
just read me Canadian
right
ones.
right north. Let me see if there's any more. So Canada already, yes, which is already way too close to America. Not just in the Middle East, like you just said. You just said just in the Middle East. You didn't say anything about anywhere else. You
No,
just said
I said that
So,
the American
satellite
college. Hold
campuses-
on, Lance. Hold on. I said the
you
American
said
colleges,
just in
the
the Middle
American
East.
colleges, like you
That's
said, that Qatar is funding, are not in the United States, the majority. They're rather satellite campuses that are in the Middle East in Qatar. That's what I told you. And you responded by saying, well, they're supporting one in Canada, which is way too close to the United States. Like, are you serious, my guy?
You said they were just in the Middle East, by the way. You did.
The American campuses? Yeah. Because they're not in
Just in the
America.
Middle East.
They support, they
Yeah.
give money to American institutions like Harvard, for instance, who have satellite campuses in the Middle East. That's the way this arrangement works. And guess what? The money they're investing in that education is the money they're spending to build the campuses, to invest in the programs. It's not money being spent in these U.S. colleges to create like a poli-sci 200 course.
Okay, here, look. The findings specifically shed light on the significant influence of Qatari state proxies such as Qatar Foundation and the Qatar National Research Fund. These entities are used to mass direct Qatari government investments in U.S. universities as a part of Qatar's soft power strategy of buying influence in the West.
Are you reading from the ISGAP?
Wait. ISGAP research shows that
The Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy.
Listen. Qatari government is indirectly behind the industry, funneling billions of dollars into leading American universities such as the Texas University of A&M, Georgetown, Cornell, Carnegie Mellon, Northwestern Virginia, Commonwealth, and others.
You want to take that first one?
Right there.
You want to take that first one?
there.
Texas A&M?
Right there.
Let's take the
Go
Texas A&M one. Let's take that first one because that's the one that you're correct. They did invest the most in. Let's look that up. Let's look up Texas A&M Qatar. Texas A&M University at Qatar is an engineering college located in education city Doha, offering students cutting-edge engineering education, hands-on experience, and global leadership opportunities. If Qatar is investing billions of dollars in an education Texas A&M associated school in Doha, they're spending it on infrastructure. They're spending it on building the college, investing in the programs which are in Qatar.
Is it still not worrying that they're investing?
Absolutely
in
not, dude.
American
What they want is an association with a U.S. college, but they're building it in Qatar and they're spending their own money to do it. For example, that's like the way that Qatar spends money on U.S. weapons. It's not like they're being given U.S. weapons for free. That would be worrying. And there are actually some very interesting foreign engagements, and there are some very interesting relationships that we have as far as the kinds of arms and defense that we supply to other nations in the Middle East. I'm sure you can guess which one. But Qatar actually pays for the weapons, and we give them to them, which is a totally normal relationship for a nation to have with the United States. What's the second college? Let's look at the next one. Maybe Texas A&M is an anomaly.
In addition,
What's the next one?
according to the agreement, the Qatar regime, based on contract with A&M, has access to sensitive student information, which could violate acceptable United States practices as well.
You understand that in order for a student to be enrolled, they have to have access to that data of the student?
Do you want you want the Muslim Brotherhood have access to American stuff?
Dude, the students
terrorists.
consent to sharing their student information because they're going to a satellite campus. That's how a college works.
Do you think they should have access to any of this kind of
Absolutely.
stuff?
If the student consents to it because he knows that he's going to a
Absolutely. As
satellite
Muslim?
campus, yeah, dude. Look, when you enroll in Texas A&M,
I don't
you're not enrolling in Texas A&M at Qatar. You're enrolling at Texas A&M. If you choose to go to the satellite campus because you want to do Middle Eastern studies at the campus in Qatar, then you would likely share your student information with the satellite campus because that's what you do at a college, no matter where you are in the world.
Okay, whatever.
What's the next college? What's the next college on the list?
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
What's the
when
next college on the list?
Minneapolis and Dearborn are taken over. And we
Okay,
get
let's check.
attacked.
Oh, okay. Minneapolis. All right. Sweet. All right. Well, let's get back to that question that I phrased you that I posed to you, because you never actually answered it. If Israel had to use nuclear weapons because it was being overrun, would you be in favor of that? Would you be in favor of ending millions of Palestinian, Israeli, and Arab lives?
Let me rephrase that. Would that be? Do you think there would be a nuclear response afterwards, or no?
By the other nations? No, because they don't have nukes. I mean, it would have to come from somewhere else. It would have to come from some ally.
Do you believe one of these allies would respond?
Potentially, but I think it would be, if we're playing under, the assumption of like the Samson option, it would be so destructive that there wouldn't really be an enemy to retaliate against. They'd all be dead. The effects of a nuke being dropped in that region would have an effect that would basically neutralize any threat.
I'm very aware of the Samson option, so if it literally had to be a nuke, then so be it.
That's crazy, Lance. That is a crazy opinion.
I've been told by a lot of people that are pro-Palestine that if for example, if they were going to get overrun and let's say the Muslims took all over of Israel and the Muslims had all control of Israel, nuclear technology, that the Americas should just carpet bomb the entire, Israeli state and kill everybody as well. So, like, what's the deal?
Wait. Hold on. I don't know if I understood that.
Okay. So
no. Let me ask you a question because I might be right. The way that I heard it was if the Muslim Brotherhood, if Hamas, if an insurgent force takes Israel over, then the U.S. should carpet bomb it.
No. They take over Israel and they have all control over their arms, weapons, and nuclear capability.
Yeah.
Do you think what should be the response for that? What do you think? Let me hear.
I mean, there's so many factors to look into. Like the very fact that nukes exist in this equation make this such a dangerous issue, and that's part of the issue in the region is that Israel developed nukes. They have nuclear capability, and nobody gave them the right to do that. They did so without any of the United Nations, without any other government like allowing that or being a fan of that, because they knew it would destabilize the region. And now that's the issue that we have. We have basically, it's like, well, Israel has nukes that they are willing to use basically to make the world its hostage. But if Israel's ever to be overrun, then the enemies, Hamas, these insurgent forces, would conceivably have control of nuclear capability. And that would arguably be more dangerous. That's the issue, is that,
You're cutting out.
Oh, my bad. Am I fine now?
You're fine now.
Okay, sweet. It's basically as if you have 3 people in a room, but then all of a sudden one of them gets like a gun. And that guy with the gun starts saying to you, hey man, you got to support me or I'm going to have to like unload this thing. I'm going to have to go crazy with it. And you're like, well, hold on, don't go crazy with it. That's insane. But they have a gun. So you have to, talk to them. You have to develop some kind of strategy. You have to try and get them on your side. Well, here's the issue. They can do whatever they want to the third party that doesn't have a gun because you're being threatened by their nuclear capability, right? You're being threatened by the second individual.
With that kind of logic, Syria and I believe Jordan do not recognize the state of Israel as well. So they do not recognize that Israel is a state whatsoever. So it's not just Gaza; it's Israel and Syria, it's Israel or it's Jordan and Lebanon. Jordan's the only one that actually admits that Israel's a state. Syria and Lebanon do not admit they're a state. So it's not only
I don't know if that's true.
Gaza.
Hold on.
It is true. Syria and Israel technically do not have a border. If you look into it, they technically do not have a border because Syria does not acknowledge that that's a border. Because Israel took the Golan Heights in the Six-Day War.
Okay, real. I thought that things had changed after Bashar al-Assad.
That's why it's a dotted line if you look at the Golan Heights, because technically they don't agree on the border. And
okay, hold on. There's some new information. This is what I was thinking of. I don't know if this is totally true. Okay. But this is what I had heard. After the toppling of Bashar al-Assad, my understanding is that the Israel-Syria relationships would change significantly.
They didn't.
Hold on.
That much.
Hold on.
Might have changed a little bit, but not
okay. 15 hours ago from the New York Times, Syria and Israel hold direct talks in Paris. Israel had just launched strikes on the Syrian capital. I saw this. There was an article that was posted, but I'm not familiar with this website. This is Y News from Tel Aviv, but I'm not familiar with the website. If this site is true, no, I'm not familiar with this. I'm not going to quote it in case it's not real.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up a little soon because
Okay.
I was promised another live stream 3,000 years ago on
Okay.
TikTok.
Well,
So,
I just want to say
I've got to do another thing, but yeah, continue for another 5-ish minutes or so.
I'll just finish with this. I can make my closing statement. I think that it is ridiculous
We can do this another time as well.
Okay, yeah. I encourage you, by the way, because frankly, I probably wouldn't have known how to respond to the recent Qatar stuff if it wasn't for a video that I watched recently, which did fantastic research into it, and it was this Leather Apron Club.
Send me the video on Instagram or.
I will. I hope you watch it. I hope you watch it.
I'll watch it. Of course, I'll watch it, and then I'll see what I can. I can maybe make some arguments up about it, and I can maybe debate it a little better next time. Because I was just when did you watch this video? Pretty recently or now?
Yeah, actually, I finished it today. I started watching it a couple days back. I finished it today.
So yeah. So I learned most of this
in Israel.
Probably like 2 weeks ago, right before I went to Israel. So I've been leaning towards pro-Israel for about a year now. So I didn't learn everything that I know, and you think I know like all this geopolitics?
I don't think you know geopolitics. I think you know. I think you know the information. I think you know the basic information that is necessary to make the case for a pro-Zionist position, and I think that was basically a large part of why a lot of these influencer trips occur.
What is Zionism? What is the definition of Zionism to you?
My understanding of it is the advocacy for a Jewish state in the Middle East.
Ethno state?
I don't think so, but like a clearly defined like Jewish state.
Do you think that Israel right now is an ethno state or an apartheid state?
I mean, there's like pretty significant separation among it, but I don't know. I think the goal is that they claim more territory. I mean, this Greater Israel project seems to be leaning certainly in the direction of the Israeli government being representative of all the people in the region, and for example, the Palestinians not having a representative government. I think that's probably a pretty accurate reflection of Zionism.
You're mad that Muslims don't have enough representation.
I think that it is pretty reasonable in this case to say that Zionist occupation of, for centuries, Muslim-occupied territory is probably not great without Muslim representation in the government. I think that's legit.
You know that Israel actually won the West Bank in a war, right? Just like America won. A lot of the wars, that took out the Indians and pushed them out. You can call it Indian occupation as well.
Hold on. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Did you know that something like 1,950 years ago?
You're being like Mehdi right now. You're being like Mehdi. Chill out for a second. Let me finish.
Okay, I'll let you finish.
One point, and then you can respond.
I'll let you finish about how it's third world coded to support Palestine.
Then I'll have to leave. But listen. They won the West Bank in a war. So technically, they could have kicked out all the Palestinians if they wanted to, as many years ago as they wanted to, but they allowed them to stay for being respectful, okay? So they allowed them to stay. They have their own little towns and cities all around the West Bank, and they're allowed to govern themselves, and they're allowed in and out of their cities to go anywhere they so please. The only thing that can't happen is Israelis going into their places. They don't allow it whatsoever. So the Israeli government is bending over freaking backwards to allow these people to stay within their borders, okay? And these people want to stay within their borders because they don't feel like, oh, it's the end of the world, they're all going to die, because the Israeli government is not forcibly coming into their homes and mass slaughtering everybody and destroying everybody. They are allowing these people into their homes. Imagine if the United States saw these tribes going into the United States. We were going in, we're taking over these, tribes and whatever, and we just put borders around them. You can govern yourselves. That's not what happened. We moved them forcibly to another part of the entire country, mostly Oklahoma and a lot of other places, mostly Oklahoma, and they live there now. So when you think about it, America kind of did the same thing, and now you're all kind of like, if Israel does it, it's the worst thing ever. But if we do it, it's whatever. It's fine. Trail Tears, it's okay. But okay,
I don't think I made that argument. I don't
care. No. But listen, I don't care about the Trail of Tears. We moved them over. We won the war fair and square. We're better at war. Israel, better at war. They won the West Bank, but they're allowing the Palestinians to have their own cities and towns. They're actually doing better than we did, quote unquote, in the leftist retard war. So they're being more nice to these people than we were nice to the Native Americans, Indians, whatever the hell you want to call them. So why in the world are you so upset about these, small towns, and they want to take over the West Bank completely and, settle there?
I think it's
What's
very
the deal?
convenient to, like, cast and frame this issue in that way, right? When you have
It's not
an
convenient. It's a
active, hold on,
one-to-one. It's a
yo, now you're
one-to-one.
interrupting me. Now you're interrupting me.
Go
When you
ahead.
have an attempt of the Israeli government to take more land, to create a greater Israel, and then to grant zero representative government to the people who have been historically occupying the
What
region
more
for
land are they
centuries.
taking that is not
Not
already
to
theirs?
mention, if we're going to be talking about this argument of, like, who's better at war, frankly, 1,950 years ago, the Jews were forcefully expelled from the region, but they can't complain about that because the Palestinians, the Arabs, were just better at war. But you obviously
Actually,
wouldn't
the
make
Ro-
that
no,
argument.
actually, the Romans were. It was actually the Romans that did that. So you're not very kept up on your history. The Romans did that, and you know where the word Palestine comes from? It comes from a
Okay,
Roman word.
then how about then let's make it
Technically, the
easy.
Romans named
Then
it
let's make it
Palestine.
easier. Then
And the
the
Romans,
then
you know
the
what
Arab
Palestine
the
means? It
Arab
means
the Arab
conqueror, and
the Arab conquest that predated the Crusades were just better at war, and the Hagia Sophia should be a mosque. It shouldn't be a cathedral because they're just better at war.
well, you always come back and try again, okay?
Here's the issue.
Yeah.
Might does not make right, pal. This is not a Christian ethos. And I'm sorry to tell you, Lance, but you can't justify the killing of millions of civilians because Israel is about to lose. That doesn't make them better at war. That makes them
Okay,
them subscribers
do you
to a
justify
worldview and to a
million-
political
do you
ethos that is
justify the
not
million-
Christian at all. That's what it makes them.
You justify hundreds of thousands of people again. If you can't even articulate this argument, I don't know if I can hear you about history. Maybe religion, we can talk about religion a little bit, but history, I'm talking about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. You still can't even comprehend this. We killed hundreds of thousands.
I
Is that
literally
okay?
responded to that. I don't think that's cool. And by the way, you're telling a bunch
Okay,
of people
okay,
who had never even seen a nuclear bomb. You're telling them we're about to drop something
We
on you
told
that's
them.
like
We
going to
told
kill.
them. We told them. We warned them.
What
We
you
told the
you
government,
wrote
we
it
are
down
going to
you
unleash
wrote it down with a
bombs.
pen and paper. Hey, we've created this new weapon that you've literally never seen, that you've never seen a test of, that you can't even conceive of.
And then we dropped it on them, and then they said, "No, we're still not going to surrender. We're going to drop it again if you don't."
And you're
if you don't
smiling
surrender."
about that. And
And then-
you're
and-
gleefully
and-
smiling about it.
Yeah, because we had to win the war somehow,
Dude,
And also,
dude,
we
that's
saved millions of American lives doing in the
No,
in the war.
I think millions is a pretty
Millions.
stark exaggeration.
No. Look at the estimates. We were going to lose far more Americans than invading the
Dude, I
Imperial
don't
Japan
know
than going
what to
back.
tell you, man. I don't know
We
what to
saved
tell
more
you.
lives. We saved more
I don't know
lives.
what to
Obama.
tell you. By the way, if if it ever came to something like a third crusade situation, whose side would you take, Lance? If Israel had to nuke itself because Christians were about to overrun Jerusalem, because there was going to be a
Christians are
total
not going
Christian
to
occupation.
overrun. Christians are not
You
going to
once
overrun
again, you're
Jerusalem.
not engaging with
Christians are-
hypotheticals.
Christians-
How would you have
Christians-
felt if you had
Christians are
not
allowed
eaten
into
breakfast this
Israel.
morning, Lance?
Do you know that Christians?
How would you have felt
Christ-
if you would have not eaten breakfast?
Oh, please, do not go with me with the stupid fucking.
Then
question.
engage with a hypothetical. If there was a Christian crusade and
it's never gonna happen.
the
It's never
Israeli
gonna happen.
occupied portion
Never
of
gonna
the Middle East was forcefully taken and it was given back, let's say, to a new Roman Empire because you wanted to get all historical about it. You wanted to get more exact.
So let me ask you.
Who would you support? Who would you
Let me
support,
ask you
Lance?
this. Let me ask you this: would the Christians mass slaughter all the Jews?
They shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
And you know what's
I would
limiting them?
support-
You know
I
what's
would- I
limiting
would- I
them?
would-
A Christian
would
ethos.
I would support the Christians taking over Israel in a certain sense in this hypothetical if they did not mass slaughter Jews.
But if Jews have to mass slaughter Palestinians to do the exact same thing you supported.
But Christians are not in control of the area and they're not living there in mass right now. It's not 1-to-1 ratio. Like this is not a hypothetical that could ever be real.
Okay, I don't think you followed the point I was
This
just
makes
trying
no
to make.
sense.
What
Your
you
point is
said,
making
what
no
you
sense.
just said is that you would be in favor of it insofar as the
Are you
Christians.
saying in the hypothetical Christians are already there?
No. In the
Or-
hypothetical, Christians are taking over, and you said I would support the Christians as long as they didn't mass kill the Jews. And what I'm telling you is that the Jews are trying to do the
Israelis,
exact
no.
same thing in the exact same territory, but you support them whether or not they mass kill
So
Palestinians.
You're saying if the Jews were in Gaza and Christians were in Israel,
No.
be more specific in territories and areas.
Okay.
Then
The territory does not matter. The principle is what we're describing. What I'm testing is your
You're saying
ability to apply a
Christians are
consistent
attacking
moral
Israel,
standard.
makes
You're
no
not
sense.
applying a consistent moral standard because you've applied a separate one to each interaction. Where the people are in the equation doesn't matter. Let's say there is an insurgent Christian force that's threatening Israel. Israel, and you're saying you would support the Christians in that conflict. You would not support Israel defending themselves at all costs. You would support the Christians. And you would support the Christians only as long as they are not mass murdering the Jews. Well, how about this? Let's say that because you believe this is the case, you believe that Palestine and Hamas and the Arabs are trying to forcefully take back what they believe is their religious heritage.
Right now, this is not the typical
you've
war.
suspended, you have now suspended your moral qualifier. Now you support Israel no matter what they do. Whether or not they kill millions of people, you'll still support them. That's why it's analogous.
They have not killed millions of people, and they won't. But
if they did, you'd support it. If that's what it took to secure the Israeli state, the Zionist state, you would do it.
It's not to support the Israeli and Zionist state. This is what I'm saying this entire time. They have a nuclear arsenal, and they have a lot of missiles. If the Muslims get in control of these missiles, everything's fucked.
And whose fault is it that they have missiles? Whose fault is it that they have nuclear capability?
Whose fault it is it that we have nuclear missiles? Whose fault is it that Russia has nuclear missiles? The UN did have missiles back then. We both came up with missiles at the same time. Who cares? Okay.
Who did Israel get the intel for the development of their missiles from? Who did Israel get that information from?
America.
How did they get it?
They stole a ship in the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay. Now you understand why the comparison of the United States for the first time ever developing nuclear capability is a little bit disanalogous with the way that Israel subversively took nuclear secrets.
Yeah, back in the 70s?
And you still support them. It is the fruit of the poisonous tree.
In a bad way?
Absolutely they have. They constantly do.
Nuclear missiles.
Absolutely, they constantly do. They constantly do.
How have they used the nuclear missile? Have they launched
as a latent threat?
Have we used a latent threat missile? Of course we have.
Yeah, of course.
We're America.
Yeah. Hold on. The difference is
you're being disingenuous.
No, I'm not. The way that the United States,
other countries, is like, if you bomb us, we're gonna fucking nuke you.
The way that the United States,
if Israel does the same thing, they're a bad guy. Makes no sense.
So what if? Okay, how about this? Why shouldn't Iran get nukes then? If Iran does it, they're the bad guys. When Iran gets nukes, they're the big bad guys.
The first nuke they get, they're gonna launch it.
That's such BS, dude. They're such
literal
BS.
Terrorists. They want to kill people.
This is such propaganda, dude. That's crazy propaganda.
You really think Muslims aren't going to launch the first nuke when they've committed 99% of all terror attacks in the world? Like, what are you talking about?
No, I don't think so. And I think a lot of those terror attacks have been sponsored by, these Arab countries because they feel that their hands are completely tied as far as retaliation goes because there is a neighbor of theirs, an enemy of theirs in the Middle East that has nuclear weapons and they don't. And they have no way of protecting themselves. That is exactly why a lot of these attacks have happened.
Israel hasn't launched the nukes because, they choose to be nice. We haven't launched our nukes since World War II.
I'm so glad that my life and the life of millions of people depends on the Israeli government's ability to be nice.
And our ability to be nice as well.
No, we are the United States of America. We use nukes as a deterrent because we were the ones who originally developed them, and we use them in the Cold War as a deterrent alongside Russia. We are trying as a country. Hold on. We are trying as a country to go through nuclear non-proliferation. We are working with Russia and other nuclear capable countries in order to reduce the amount of nuclear weapons in the world. But that becomes a lot more difficult when you have these rogue states like Israel and the Middle East who steal secrets and develop their own nuclear weapons, seriously complicating the ability for non-proliferation.
Do you know how many nukes Israel probably has? Not even like
they won't disclose it. They won't disclose it. I wonder why. I wonder why they won't disclose it.
America's nukes, Russia's nukes, they probably have like 3 or 4.
Actually, we don't know actually because they won't tell anybody Because they're not supposed to have
There's
them.
not enough land. There's not enough land in Israel to put as many nukes as we have. There's not enough land in Russia to put.
All right, the argument is going this way.
So my ending statement today is that I am in full support of the IDF right now, and I believe.
What about the video of like the IDF troopers like raping, like, well, I can actually say it. What about the IDF soldiers raping a woman and like several of them covering it up so it wasn't spotted by cameras?
So that was not a top-down decision. Those people were tried and they were put in jail for that.
So don't you think that we could probably extend that same amount of courtesy to Hamas, which is even more disorganized?
It was bad, you know. Like if an American soldier does something bad in the Middle East or wherever, and they get set in jail. That's exactly what happened.
And if Hamas does the same thing, then it's a bad thing that an individual does. And if Hamas does the thing that you described prior, it's a bad thing that an individual does. Only you're not able to extend the same amount of courtesy.
Hamas calls their family and like says, yes, I've done this, and everyone in Palestine and Gaza praises them for doing this kind of stuff. It's a completely different situation. This is not a
no way of proving that whatsoever. You have no way of proving that. All of the Palestinians are like, oh, thank you so much for doing that. That's crazy, bro. Do you not understand how? Do you not understand how like not level?
They are raised from birth to hate America, hate Israel, and perform acts of terror. If you look at these people in their actual schools, they are given plastic AK-47s to practice with. They're killing Americans and Jews. So that's my final statement.
Okay.
Hamas is horrible. Okay, we should take them out, destroy them. And try to save as many lives as possible. I know there's a lot of hypotheticals and crazy stuff, but my personal statement is that Hamas should be destroyed and the civilians should try to be saved as much as possible because we don't want as much innocent death as possible. Okay? That's my final statement.
All right, sweet. Well, I'm going to send you that video. I think that a Christian ethos is probably the most important thing when we're dealing with these kind of conflicts, and it's the only thing that can truly save the world. But I'm going to send you that video I was talking about. I hope you watch it. I hope it shifts your perspective, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming on. You got balls. You got balls to come on. I can't say that I'm a huge supporter of the
I don't hate you, Kai. We always have a good debate. We always have a good debate. I mean,
you can't see it. I'm giving you a heart. I hope you see the light. I hope you stop supporting the mass murder of millions of people.
It's not mass murder. It's not a genocide. But
all right.
All love, everyone. You have a good night. Praise the Lord Jesus Christ, and have a good life until I see you again.
All right. Have a good one.